Be sure and tell them Large Marge sent ya.
In the 90s, we were just teeny tykes. We rented movies and our bikes. We wanted to be DJs, but we were just teeny gals. So we went off to college and we remained as pals. 20 years later, we're still watching flicks and we're bringing you the feedback bit by bit. Sweetie and Sweetie are here to say it's the Large Marge Santa's podcast.
It's the hard knock life for us. It's the hard knock life for us. Static treated, we get tricks. Static says we get tricks. It's the hard knock life.
Hey guys, welcome to the Large Marge Sent Us podcast, your favorite podcast where two sweetie sisters talk about movies that shaped their childhood. I'm Sweetie.
And I'm Sweetie.
I'm really excited tonight.
Yeah.
What did I say to you this morning over GChat?
Happy Any Day.
It's Any Day. Guys, you know how I feel about musicals. And you know how Sweetie here feels about musicals. We in general, as a team, feel about musicals. How do you feel about musicals?
I was like, wait, how do I feel about musicals? I mean, I like them, but I don't think I love them as much as you. Like, I don't have all the soundtracks on my phone and, like, listen to them in the car and belt them out. I mean, some of them, but not, like, the whole, I don't know.
Well, I'll say that was, like, really the old me, which I still really love. But I don't have, like, soundtracks anymore. I don't do any current musicals, that's for sure.
Right, yeah.
Like, I feel like I'm, like, stuck in this time frame, like, when I was a little kid.
But you're, like, movie musicals only.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I like just, like, regular musicals.
Good call. Totally. Yep.
Yeah, that's it. That's
Yeah.
the difference.
So, we've done a couple now. So, count them out. Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins.
Awesome. That was back in May. We did Grease.
Grease.
Amazing.
Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
That kind of
sort
counts. Yeah. Grease 2.
Grease 2.
List for sequel September, so that was awesome.
Bedknobs and Broomsticks.
Bedknobs and Broomsticks? Shit, I forgot about that one. Okay. Okay, so we've done a couple now. More than a couple. A few. And I have dropped this one many times because it's just one of my favorites. I said Mary Poppins, Grease, and Annie were my like real top ones. There's a couple Rodgers and Hammersteins that are up there for sure. Get into those maybe later. But for now, guys, it's Annie Day.
We got Annie Day.
We got Annie.
Good times.
Yeah. So I'm pumped. I'm wearing an Annie wig right now. I will post pictures, but Sweetie's here is a little freaked out. Because basically I look like a lounge singer. Because I'm too old to be a freckled-faced,
like a lady
redheaded
at
orphan.
like a New York bar, like Staten Island bar, just like a regular. Not even, no, not a performer, just like a bar patron.
I mean, it really just says to me, I should never dye my hair this color. It just doesn't work.
No, it doesn't really, no. Maybe if you like dyed your eyebrows.
But also, this is like almost carrot top red, which almost nobody looks good in.
It's true.
Like,
even
a nice auburn would be probably
even
fine.
Annie.
Yeah.
It's a little harsh.
Well, that wasn't her real hair color.
I
She's
know,
brunette.
I know.
But yeah. Anyway, so guys, Annie, 1982. Okay, I don't know. A lot of people know this or not, but this is directed by John Huston, who is like a giant director, both in stature and how many films he made. And his offspring, his daughter's Angelica Houston. Mm-hmm. I just watched a couple movies. So he did The Maltese Falcon, which is super famous. He did, what is that one with like Marilyn Monroe? And it's like one of her last or earlier films.
It's 7 Year Itch.
No.
Some Like It Hot?
No. It's like a westerny kind of one. No. Like The Outsiders, but like something like that.
Blanking.
Something. Yeah. Anyway, but like in terms of like Hollywood, he's like super, super famous. He never did a musical. I'm like, wasn't a musical guy. So it's really interesting that he chose this project like for what it was. Mm-hmm. The original Annie, the musical, ran from 1977 to 1983. So the musical sort of ended right around like a little bit before this movie came out. Super popular, won some Tonys, won Best Musical, won this and that. And really is just like a great Broadway. Actually, I've never seen the Broadway show, and it's a little bit different than the movie, but a great story to make into a movie, let's say.
Okay.
How I got introduced to this movie, I don't know.
I think we just watched it
Yeah.
on the television.
Yeah.
I don't think we rented it. I think it was just playing, and we saw it. And
But why did I see it so many times?
Because you loved musicals.
No, but if we didn't, I must have rented it like a couple.
Oh, sure.
times.
Yeah, I think you rented it. We owned it, I think, after a
Yeah,
while.
I think
And
we
then
must have owned it. And I had the soundtrack, and I like this soundtrack because the thing with this movie is that they added a bunch of songs for this movie, like particularly, they left out some from the Broadway musical. So I really only grew up with like the songs in this. And if you're a Broadway fan, you probably be like, oh, like I don't like any of these songs they added, but actually I kind of love the songs they added. But and a good mix of like kind of what they did with like including a couple famous people, but like actually like a lot of Broadway kind of people, which like I really applaud, because sometimes when I feel like they do the movie musical, they only want like big names. So they cast people who really can't sing or dance.
Russell Crowe.
Yeah, right, exactly. So I don't know like how famous these people were when this in 1982, but like, so the Annie girl was like a child actress, Aileen Quinn. I don't know if she like really did anything.
She didn't really do anything.
Yeah.
This is it.
Albert Finney, like super famous actress. I looked at the last thing he did. So he was in Skyfall. Do you remember? He's like the kind of crusty guy in Skyfall at the end.
Skyfall. You mean the guy that
the
he kills at the
caretaker?
end?
No. It's like the caretaker of the Skyfall, the
Oh,
house.
yeah.
So that was the last movie he did in 2012. But he's been in like a bunch of other stuff. And like really unrecognizable without a hair. Like, whoa. Crazy. Carol Burnett. What? So good.
So
good.
good.
She's the fucking best,
funny.
guys. Like, what is happening? Anne Renking, who is a super seasoned Broadway performer, did a lot of Broadway stuff and then did a couple movies and then came back for the when they redid Chicago in the 90s. So they had like Bebe Neuwirth was Velma, and she was Roxy, if you've ever seen that show. So that was super
The
famous.
name on everybody's lips is gonna be Roxy.
Yeah. So she, and you can totally tell her like Broadway chops in this. Her dancing is like fucking
So good.
unreal, off the chats. Who else? Oh, Tim Curry.
Tim Curry.
Like also Broadway singing, great like singing theater guy.
Bernie Peters.
Bernadette Peters, oh my God, she is the tiniest role, but even the little bit she has is so good. And just the little one song she sings, you're like, oh my God, you're amazing.
She's great.
Like she's so good. Randomly, I read that Steve Martin was supposed to play Rooster, but because Bernadette Peters was already cast and they had been dating since The Jerk and then broke up like right before this, he felt like super uncomfortable about playing on with her. I know.
Wow.
Crazy.
Cool. Good trivia.
And then like a bunch of like randos. No, I don't think anybody else
Kids.
been this.
A dog.
Good singing and acting and dancing kids, cute
Punjab.
dogs, some like some racist sidekicks.
Actors.
So all that kind of stuff takes place in the Depression, so 1930s, and yeah, it's a fucking fun romp. The songs are so damn catchy. I mean, I don't know. I'd have to argue with anybody like what songs are catchier. What?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you're
like
probably
we're
right.
just
You're
like
probably right.
tapping our feet, like singing along, clapping. Sweetie made it that I couldn't sing like once the first song rolled on, and she's like, you can't sing for the rest of this, right? I was like, what? So mad.
You were yelling in my ear, singing very loudly in my ear. I couldn't hear Sweet Little Annie, so I need to make the rule. I'm sorry.
So we made a compromise.
Bring it down.
I lip synced a little bit.
Oh boy.
But I sung. I snuck in some singing here and there when you're in the bathroom. Don't tell anybody.
Oh boy. All right.
But yeah, so we're super excited to bring it to you. It's going to be a lot of singing. It's going to be a lot of table dancing.
Dancing. What?
I think it's time for the Sweetie synopsis.
Wait, do we usually do Sweetie synopsis at musicals, or we just do the songs? I forget now.
I just do the synopsis. Hello. Yes.
But then when do we? And then we run
after?
down the songs. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
It's been too long.
I
We need
freaked
to do
out.
more musicals.
I panicked.
It's time for the Sweetie synopsis. Yeah.
Sweeties.
Sandy's his name, if you please.
Annie, no last name, is an orphan at the Hudson Street Home for Girls in New York City, run by the everlasting drunkard Miss Hannigan. Annie and her orphanage compadres, they're orphans, so sad life. However, in this case, I feel like it's a little sadder than most orphanages.
I feel like they have a good time though.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, they make the best of it and they sing a lot, which is great. Like, props to you. Annie's like always like keeping those bitches up though late at night, like singing in the window. It's like if I was an orphan in that orphanage, I'd be like, can you stop the singing? Like, I need to rest, you know? I'd be like, I'd probably be Pepper, which is a shame because she's a maniac.
They do get mad at her, but
not
like,
for singing.
But
though.
like, what is the difference with Annie though, with all just compared to all the other orphans?
Annie is just like the leader, and everyone likes her.
But why is she so hopeful versus like everybody else who's kind of like a little bit more negative? Let's say
Annie thinks that her parents are going to come and get her because she has like half of a locket, and she thinks that her parents are going to come. I don't buy this, and I don't get why she thinks this, that her parents are coming to get her.
She just 10 years. I mean, I think she made like a little myth for herself when she had that locket. But it does make her like eternally optimistic and always wanting to find those parents because she's not really in that same boat. She doesn't consider herself an orphan. She thinks she has parents out there. Little does she know, like, not true.
Sad. So one day, a lady knocks at the door and says she's with Mr. Warbucks, Oliver Warbucks, the billionaire, who would like to kind of rent an orphan, if you will.
It's like a PR play.
Yeah, it's for like his image. So they want to like take an orphan for 1 week and then have her live at the house and like take photos and be like, look how great you just spilled limoncello all over your microphone. So I hope it still works. Can you do a test, please? Test.
Tomorrow.
Okay. All right.
I love you.
It worked.
Tomorrow.
So Miss Hannigan's like, oh, okay, sure. Which orphan do you want? And Annie's like in the closet being punished, and she pokes her head out and is like, pick me. And this woman, Grace, what's her last name?
Farrell?
Miss
No.
Farrell?
Yeah.
Farrell? Barrel of Farrells. Yeah. She likes Annie and is like, I'll take her. And Miss Hannigan's like, no, you can't. She's terrible. She's a terrible kid. You can't have her. It's weird because you're like, are you in love with her? Like, why don't you want Annie to come? But
she thinks Annie's too cheeky.
So like,
well, she just always is running away.
If she doesn't like her, then get rid of her for a week.
Yeah,
it's
that's
suspicious.
True. That's true. She does like Annie.
Yeah, see,
I think she sees Annie herself in Annie.
She wishes. Yeah, so they get Annie. They take her to Daddy Warbucks' house. It's a mansion.
Oh, man.
This is in the
Beautiful.
Great Depression, which I thought you weren't allowed to have money during. So I'm confused. Like, what? How is this allowed?
Apparently, so his name, Daddy Warbucks. So he made like military equipment. So that's why there's always like planes and stuff, like model planes and stuff around here. So it's for like pre-war. But this is like in the 30s. So we were like not near war at all. So I don't know like what. And that's why Roosevelt keeps calling him. I think, yeah, because maybe it was like leftover from World War I. I don't know. The details are shady. But he's a billionaire in the Depression, which is pretty rare.
Right. Like, I thought it wasn't allowed. I thought FDR, like, mandated if you had, like, gold and silver, you had to, like, give it up to the government.
Oh.
It's a question on Jeopardy that I keep getting in my Jeopardy game.
Oh, no. I mean, the thing with the Depression, I mean, it had to do with banks and stocks and all that kind of stuff. So,
yeah. Okay. Well, whatever. I just think it's a little poor taste. Anyways, but Amy's having a ball. She's like, wow, this is magical. She gets, like, anything she ever wants. There's a swimming pool in the house. She gets satin sheets, like outfits, custom-made dresses. There's a tennis court. There's servants. There's maids. She doesn't have to do the cleaning. It's amazing. Yeah. She also picked up a dog on the way. Like, just one day on the street, she found this dog named Sandy. No big deal. So Sandy comes to the house, too. So, you know, they're living a grand old time.
It's great. But it's only for a week. So
1 week.
Super bummer. And so Daddy Warbucks, Oliver Warbucks at this point, he's on Daddy, you know, is a hard soul. Who knows how old he is? I don't know. 50s. We're guessing 50s. Kind of missed the whole marriage, kids, whatever that whole route is. Doesn't really seem interested in any of that stuff. He's all into capitalism, and he's a Republican, and he's all into his business. Didn't really have time for like love or relationships or anything. But you know, as the story goes, this little orphan warms his heart. And he starts realizing, like, wow, there is more than just, like, building planes and ships and, like, having all this money and just, like, living in this big house by myself. So they're having a grand old time. They go to the movies. They swim together in a pool. I mean, it's just, like, fabulous. So his assistant, Grace, who is BT Dubs, like, in love with him. Sketch.
Weird.
Like,
I don't know
workplace
why.
romance. Grace, no.
Ugh, so much better.
Yeah. Sweetie has a hard time with it.
hard
I like see a
time.
nice softer side of Oliver Warbucks. I can
It's like
see
the
it.
classic, like, pretty lady who gets like suckered in this like rich, ugly guy.
It has Harvey Weinstein written all over it, let's just say. However, let's just put those feelings aside for now, because Grace convinces him, hey, like, maybe we should adopt her for reals. But it's like kind of, when we'll go into this scene later, but she basically is just like, hey, like, I love you, and if you love me, like, you should adopt this little girl. It's
a little weird.
It seems like kind of sketchy. Anyway, but he decides, awesome, like, let's do it. Goes to Miss Hannigan and has her sign the papers, so he's gonna adopt Annie. Super excited about it. Goes to Annie. Thinks Annie will be excited about it too. Annie loves Mr. Warbucks and Grace and that house and everything. But Annie is dead set on finding those lost parents. She's so loyal to the people that she's never met and has this idea of like what her real parents would be versus these people who just met who really do love her and want to take care of her. So yeah, it's just like she's just like fascinated with this like life that this real parents that she thinks she has.
made up. Like, I feel like the more I think about it, the more I'm like, Annie was cray. Like, she's crazy.
Hello, she's been through a lot. So Mr. Warbucks, as great as he is like, okay, like totally understanding. I mean, he's a little bit hurt, but is like, okay, great. Well, I'm going to help you find your parents. So he gets a $50,000 reward, which of course is going to bring like super sketchy people out of the woodwork to like try to like fake be her parents.
Yep.
But they think that doesn't matter. Like they'll weed everybody out and get the right people.
Because they know that the right parents will have the other half of the locket.
So Annie tells them about the whole locket story. So Miss Hannigan has this disgusting, gross brother and his disgusting little girlfriend, Lily St. Regis. The brother's name is Rooster. Also hear about this plan on the radio, and they know, I don't know if they know that Annie was in that orphanage.
Yeah, they knew that, and then they go to Miss Hannigan with their disguises and like, look how great we look. Like, we can totally pull it off. So, like, all we need from you is, like, information to seal the deal. So she has information on all the orphans that are there. So she, like, finds Annie's box and is like, here's her birth certificate and, like, her the other half of the locket that she wears around her neck. So they're like, great, we seal a deal. So they all go in on this together and they're going to split it.
Oh, wait, but you said that she has the other side of the locket because Annie's parents had died.
Right, so they're dead.
Like years ago when she was probably tiny and
they
didn't
died
even
in
know.
a fire.
In a fire, and she never
10
told
years
her.
ago, she's 10, so when she was a baby. So, and then like the locket has like an evidence tag on it, so you're like,
But
ew,
she never
were they
told
wearing that
Annie,
when they
so she
burn up?
like that dream, like, you know, was still persisting with Annie, even though like somebody knew her parents were gone, which is totally shitty. Like, fuck you, Miss Hannigan.
So shitty.
Bad.
Yeah, so they do this whole thing. There's this charade, and they go and they get her, and they're sad that Mr. Warbucks is like, oh, this is sad, but it has to be. So,
Yeah. But it doesn't feel right because they just
feels
seem
a little
weird.
weird about it.
Yeah.
She says goodbye. She goes off with them in the car, and then they like see this little old lady like hobbling across the street, and they pick her up, and it's Miss Hannigan, and Annie's like, no, Mr. Warbucks, Mr. Warbucks. But it's too late, and they drive off. And then the orphans had heard, her orphan friends had heard Miss Hannigan and her brother colluding with this plan. So they're like, we have to warn Annie. So they escape and run to Daddy Warbucks' house to tell them. So they finally get there, and they tell him, and he's like, call everyone, J. Edgar Hoover. And he like calls everyone. And they like go on a search for them. They put Punjab in the helicopter in the skies, you know, like looking out. I don't know how he found that was the car. I don't know. He's magical, so like whatever he can do, he does whatever he wants. But they find her, and then Annie escapes from the car, rips up the check, and then Rooster's upset. He's like, I'm gonna kill her. And then Miss Hannigan's like, he is gonna kill her. Oh no! And, like,
She's just a baby.
Wrong movie, but similar idea where she runs after him and is like, don't kill her. And then we'll talk about this, but Rooster punches Miss Hannigan and then goes after Annie, and Annie decides the best way to escape this crazy maniac guy is to climb straight up this bridge that is like perpendicular.
Pulled a Sarah from Adventures in Babysitting.
And just keeps climbing.
Let's go into the worst possible height situation.
Where there's like no way out.
No way out.
Once you get to the top, that's it. You're done.
It's like a dark alleyway, but like 25 stories up. Like, why is that the best idea?
I would get it if there were like train tracks on the other side of that, but there ain't. Like, it's just flat.
Or if I guess the bridge was eventually going to come down. So it was like a drawbridge with train tracks on it. But it is so high. I don't know what river that was spanning, but like, what? But she just keeps going with her like tiny little Mary Jane's, like up, 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 up. Rooster's behind her, like, oh my god, so that part is so scary, and it's such a happy, like, lovely movie, and the end is like terrifying. The fuck, John Huston.
But Punjab saves the day and like takes his turban off and then uses it as a rope and like comes down and rescues Annie and then kicks Rooster and he flies down the ladder, but don't worry, lands safely on the trampoline laid by the fireman. Whatever.
Is that still like a fireman tool? The trampoline?
That was going to be one of my questions. Like, when's the last time you saw the fireman roll out the old trampoline?
And like, how often did that work? Did you have an injury?
Too up high. Like, you're going to it's going to like break the trampoline.
When he was sliding down the thing, it looked like it was like a quarter of the actual height.
Oh,
that,
yeah.
Like,
it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't. No way. So, yeah, Amy's back down. She hugs Daddy Warbucks. And then cut to, after that, they have a big fair for the 4th of July at the house. And all of Annie's friends are there. Miss Hannigan's there. And then happy family at the end. Daddy Warbucks, Annie, Punjab, the servant, and Grace, who is now kissing Daddy Warbucks. So they're together, I guess.
So bad. Grace, get
think
out.
It's so gross. Like, that always skeeved me out when I was little because I was like, ew. Like, and when you're little, you think everyone's like 80 years old and who's old and doesn't have
now
hair.
I'm less skeeved out about it, but it still seems wrong.
Like, why does she love him? Like, he's a terrible person. I mean, he's better now,
Stockholm
but like
syndrome.
it was obvious that she liked him before he got better, you know? Like,
Yeah.
so I don't
As
know.
Annie says, she thinks you're the tits. No, that's not what she said. She goes, Grace thinks you are better than sliced bread.
I don't know why. But yeah, so anyways, that's it. That's the end of the movie.
Yeah, really kind of a simple plot.
Simple plot, but the
Not a lot
movie's
to it.
2 hours and 7 minutes long.
It did, despite my intense love for this film, drag for me.
I'll tell you
It
why.
dragged.
I'll tell you why it drags. Because the whole movie seems to be adding up, like building up to this idea of Daddy Warbucks finally realizing that he does want love in his life and that he does want to keep Annie. So that seems to take most of the movie, right? It's probably like an hour and a half by the time that he gives her that locket from Tiffany's and is like, I'm adopting you. And then after that is this whole other to-do about we have to find your parents now, which is just like once that is laid down, it's like, oh man, there's still like all that to go. So it's just, I think that's why, because you feel that the conclusion has already happened, like by the time there's another 45 minutes to go. So I think that's why that happens.
But also I think like that part is where all like the fun dancing musical numbers end.
yeah,
So
there's no more after
there's
that.
no more after that. There's some songs, but they're just like them singing and doing that stuff. So it's like, for me, it's like the fun, whether it's like the fun dancing musical numbers in the orphanage or Daddy Warbucks' house or when they go to Radio City Music Hall. Like those are the ones that are so fun and you're just like watching and you're like, this is so fun.
Yeah.
Like this is so great. And then it's just kind of a downer.
In other words, the time in the movie when I would go to bed.
Yeah,
Which
right. And so it did feel long by the end. So I don't know. Like I read somewhere that like it was, or maybe it was IMDb, that it felt overproduced. Which like now I guess I can see that because it just did seem. But like that's like musicals though. Have you ever seen like a movie musical?
What does that mean? Wait, what do you mean overproduced?
I don't know.
I think
It's
Baz
like-
Luhrmann is overproduced. Like I
Yeah.
wouldn't consider this
Yeah.
overproduced.
I don't know. But I guess like they put it was the budget was so big on this that they didn't. It was like one of the top grossing films of the year, but they didn't make any money because the budget was so crazy. So that's
Okay.
like a shame.
Well, it's hard with musicals. You have to do all the numbers.
Yeah,
and
there's just
get
so
all the
much
stuff
and people
down.
and stuff
Like
like
when
that.
you were saying in the synopsis, you were talking about the fun things that Daddy Warbucks and Annie do, but it's really only like
Yeah,
two
two
things.
things. Yeah.
When you're like, wow, that week went by really fast. They like only swam in the pool for
swam in
a
the
second
pool.
and went to the movie.
Well, he had to work a lot. So she was like, remember, because that was the whole thing. She's like so bored and she's like playing with Punjab with like the planes and stuff because he has to work. So it's like, wasn't like he's just lazing around. Like he's a businessman. He like has shit to do. So it wasn't ideal for him. That was like the whole point. He didn't think she was going to be like wanting to hang out with him. He thought it was going to be like, okay, like snap one picture, me and the orphan, like later. So it ended up being like a whole different thing.
His heart got unlocked like a
Yeah.
locket.
Right. Which it's like totally in him. And that guy is like kind of a cute little actor, that Albert Finney.
He's pretty sweet.
Yeah,
Sure.
he just seems like sweet. I mean, I wouldn't want to like do him, Grace. Well, what you're thinking.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right.
So anyway, so Annie being known for so many very, very famous songs. I wrote down there are 13 songs in this film. I would say half of them are actually in the musical, and then the other half they added for this movie especially.
Okay.
So that's kind of interesting. Because the movie, I forget. No, the movie does follow the plot of the musical. Yeah, like pretty much. They changed it around like a little bit. I guess like the last scene is during Christmas, and they ended this one in 4th of July, like random.
Sure.
So actually the whole movie only takes place June to 4th of July. It's only a month span.
Quick trip.
But if he's only she only has him
For a week.
and
then,
if it's
sure.
but yeah, so as we do with all musicals, let's do a rundown of the songs.
Okay. Start it off, sweetie.
Warming up the pipes. Okay. All right. So first song is Maybe. Okay. So I was obsessed with this movie as a little girl. Basically wanted to be Annie. Wanted to be an orphan, as sick as that sounds. I was
had a lovely life.
Yeah. Oh, I did? Yes. Oh, yeah. No. But, like, I don't know. I also, as I've said many times before, like, I was not, like, a musical. I did a lot of musical theater, but not, like, as a singer. I would do, like, the dancing parts. And I still love to sing, even though, like, I don't really have a great voice. But I always imagined that I would be this, like, Annie on Broadway or even, like, local theater and be, like, belting out this song. It's, like, this beautiful song. I love it so much. And I put on Instagram, like, what's everyone's favorite Annie song? And a lot of people came back with Maybe. So I'm happy.
Crazy. All right. Tell us how it goes.
All right. So this is the song that begins the movie, and it's Annie singing at night, and it seems to everyone that she kind of sings a song every night, wishing for her parents to like come get her.
Much to the chagrin of Pepper.
Yeah. So she's just like dreaming of what her real parents are. So it goes. it's like really high because it's like a child singing.
All of these songs are really high.
Gotta like take it down. Maybe far away, or maybe real nearby. He may be pouring her coffee. She may be straightening his tie.
What's the really sexist part where it's like, maybe he's a doctor?
Betcha he reads. Betcha she sews. Maybe she's made me a closet of clothes.
Yeah, I think we should like redo these lyrics. Be like, maybe she's a doctor and he's a deadbeat. Like, it's just like, I don't know. I just felt sad.
Maybe he's a
Like,
stay-at-home
the
dad.
woman just sews? What?
It's the fucking 30s.
Dream big, Annie.
Give me a break. But it's a beautiful song. It's adorable. And yeah, it's a great one for belting out in the shower if you need one of those.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. What's next?
Next is It's a Hard Knock Life for us. It's a hard knock life for us. Instead of kisses, we get kicked. Instead of treated, what? Instead of
It's a hard knock life. Don't it feel like the wind is always howling? Once a day, don't you want to throw the towel in? It's easier than putting up a fight. No?
Sure. I mean, I'm more familiar with the Jay-Z. No,
Oh my
kidding.
God.
I'm just kidding. But yeah, good song. Obviously, it was immortalized when Jay-Z decided to sample this for his song "Hard Knock Life."
Yeah, so good. I mean, and both those versions are great. But this, I love this song. I love like the lyrics in the song are good, but it's really the music for me of this song that's like it's so intense. It's like dun 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 dun.
That's why Jay-Z picked it.
Dun, dun. It's like so intense, and it's really just like the music of it and the way they do this song. It's like, excuse me. A big dance number with all the orphans, and they're doing all this like crazy orphan stuff, and there's this like great scene where they do this like dance move when they're like washing the floor. Oh my god, I want to act out that so bad.
It's hard. I feel like you can only do those moves when you're little.
Yeah.
It's like when you're little,
Like the
can you
tumbles
use
and
the
stuff?
monkey bars, and then when you're older, you're like, oh, I weigh 120 pounds.
Yep.
I can't support myself any longer. It's too hard.
Oh,
So
it's, like,
I mean,
so-
bless you if you can do that.
Yeah.
But I don't.
It's
I don't
just
know if
so
you can.
rousing, and they're all like going up the stairs, and it's like dun, 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 dun. You'll stay up till this dump shines like the top of the Chrysler Building. And And then they do this whole like mimic of Miss Hannigan. It's so good.
Okay. All right.
Number
Next.
3. Dumb Dog.
You're up.
Okay. Dumb Dog. So this is when she finds Sandy. She rescues them from these like horrible boys who have tied tin cans to a dog's tail. What is this?
This is depression. They didn't have anything to do. Nobody was teaching them. They were probably orphans. I don't know.
I think
And
they
were
turned
like-
into serial killers.
Yeah,
That's my
probably,
theory.
yeah.
Like assholes. So Annie like fends off all the boys. It's a really fun scene because she just like punches the shit out of these boys like
She's
one after
scrappy
the
as
other.
fuck.
She's so scrappy. She's amazing. She's a mean right hook. So she saves the dog, but then she walks away, and then the dog follows her, and she's like, why are you following me? So she sings like a cute little song. It goes, dumb dog, why are you following me? I ain't got a crumb, dog. How about letting me be? I ain't gonna feed you. Ain't got a scrap for you, need you. Don't give a rap for you, dumb dog.
So it's the same tune as the next song, which when she brings Sandy back to the orphanage and the girls are like, what's his name? And then the song is Sandy. So the dog's name is Sandy, which she names before she goes back to the orphanage. But the girls are like, what's his name? And she's like, guess. And it's like, okay, there are like 500,000 possible dog names out there. Like, that is a cruel joke.
And
to
I
be
probably
like,
would never have guessed.
guess
Sandy.
what it is. So they do the song. It's wait. How does the regular? What's the lead up to that though?
Do you want like the beginning part or the actual Sandy song?
Well, I'll just say the actual Sandy song.
Sandy,
So it's
Sandy's
like,
his name.
Sandy's his name, if you please. If you don't believe me, ask any one of the fleas. And my favorite part of the song is when the girls are all trying to guess the name. And they're like, what's the first one they say?
So how about
What is it?
champion?
And then this one girl's like, amazing voice. And this part always stuck out to me.
We can do the whole thing because I
Oh.
did the other parts. We just
Okay.
want to do the main part.
All right,
So
fine.
he goes, so how about champion? Champion, you're anything but. We could call him Tiger, but there's no biting him. Tiger, kittens would frighten him. Rover, why not think it over? Rover is the perfect name for this dumb-looking dog.
Yeah, so I love the Rover part. I always tried to like emulate that when I was little, like as best I could, even though it's really hard because, like we said, it's kids singing it and their voices are super, super fucking high, so it's impossible. But I love that part, and that was one of my favorite parts to sing alone in the house.
Yeah, that's so funny. I do the Sandy song, like for any like pet name. It's really good. You can do it with Desmond.
Sure.
Desmond's his name, if you please. If you don't believe me, ask any one of his legs he has left.
He didn't even wake up. I don't think he knows his name.
Uh-oh.
Hi, buddy. Hey. He's awake. Phew.
All right, next up. Okay, I think I'm gonna like it here. So Annie gets brought to the house, and it's a really fun song because they're asking her basically like all the things that she wants, and she like has never had any of these things, so she makes all these like funny little wisecracks basically of like, oh, like I don't even know kind of what you're talking about. So, how does it start?
Let's do the chorus.
No, I love the part where they're like, the Mrs. Word will make you look close. Yeah.
Blue's her color. No, red, I think.
Your bath is drawn by Mrs. Greer.
Soap, I think. No, bubbles. Which, okay. Who wants just fucking soap in their bath? Nobody, Mrs. Whatever. Yeah.
Annette comes in to make your bed.
The silk sheets, I think. No. Oh, no. The satin sheets. No. The silk.
No.
No, the satin sheets, I think. Okay. So this is my, like, number one question in beef with the song is that, like, I feel like, isn't silk better than satin? Like,
I would pick satin.
Don't you want silk?
Silk is too, like, it's so slippery. Like, I wouldn't want silk.
But silk's, like, the more expensive.
Satin's really nice.
I don't know. When I was little, I was like, shit, I don't know.
I know.
It was like,
I always thought silk, but now I'm more satin.
when I was little, it seemed like a really hard decision, and it really kept me up at night trying to figure out what would I pick. I don't know. But this bitch just picks herself. Like, all these people are picking themselves. Like, then they don't even wait for Andy to decide. They're just like, no, I got it. So whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then the chorus is
Wait, I want some of the other like little parts. So then there's like, the tennis court is in the rear. Never even picked up a racket. What? Have an instructor here at noon. And get that Don Budge fellow if he's available. I think I'm gonna like it here. So then they like kind of go around. It's like this big dance number. So like everyone in the house is like this crazy dancer. There's like the guys cleaning the floor and the maids with like dusters and like.
I think they're having a little too much fun cleaning the house.
Oh
like
God, so
too much fun.
It's crazy. Yeah. So so that part's really great. And there's like really like excited like what is that? Like person who takes a yard person.
Gardener.
The gardener. Yeah. The yard person. The gardener's like super. And he's like, hey, Annie. And he's like, I got something for you. And he like has this bundle of flowers and he like climbs up the whole like balcony
he first
thing.
does like a crazy pirouette jump thing.
Two crazy pirouette jumpy things.
And then he's very limber. He's my favorite character. He's my favorite character by far. Yeah. By far. Whatever his name is, Larry the Gardener. I don't know. Love him. It's good. But it's a good tune. It's a good tune.
Yeah. Used to room in a tomb where I'd sit and freeze. Get me now, holy cow! Will someone pinch me, please?
And it just makes you like, can you imagine having nothing and then like being in this like even now I have something, but if I was like in a big mansion, it'd just be like amazing. I'd probably sing this song. Yeah, to be honest.
There's this one part where she's like, you won't have to pick up any of your toys. And she goes, that's okay. I haven't got any anyway.
It's like a total sad thing where you're like, I do that all the time where someone's like, don't you want to hang out with your friends? And you're like, I don't really have any.
So you are Annie. You are like the 30-something
totally
Annie.
Like accidentally awkward. Like, oops.
But you're right. Because it's like a great dichotomy, that song. Because it's like really happy. But then she's kind of saying like really depressing things to counter them. And it doesn't matter because it's like a really happy song. Anyway. Funny little girls.
So this is back at the orphanage. Miss Hannigan is hating her life as per usual and is drowning in her bottle of gin or whatever. And she sings her song, which goes, little girls, everywhere I turn, there's little girls. And then there's like, some people are dripping with diamonds, some women are dripping with pearls, but lucky me, look at what I'm dripping with, little girls, little girls. And it's great. It's in her boudoir, as Sweetie likes to say. It's a great song. Clearly a showpiece for Carol Burnett. Just like her comedy is just genius. She like fills the bathtub with like gin and then sits in it. And
she's a good
does
voice
this like
too.
clinking glass
I
thing. Yeah, I think it's one of those roles that even if you're not a seasoned singer, it's just it's not in a key that's difficult, so anybody can really sing
and you're just
it.
kind of like warbling.
Yeah,
like,
so it's easy for anyone to do. So yeah, it's a great song, but a lot of people's favorites. So
it's awesome, and it's like detailing all pretty much like very violent acts against the kids, but she's like such a hot mess, just like funny. Yeah, love that, and she's so good in it. Some night I'll straighten their curls. Send a flood, send a flu. So good. Let's go to the movies. Okay. So there's like nothing for Annie to do. Like she goes swimming, she does the tennis, she has karate instruction with the Asp.
The Asp is the driver.
Yeah.
He's Asian.
So, and is like really bored, and like Daddy Works is like working all the time. So they finally decide like, let's like go to the movies. So he's like, Punjab, call Radio City Music Hall and buy out the 8:00 show. Like, what? That's awesome.
Just kind of, it's like, again, it's
Right.
the depression.
All those poor people.
What if those poor people saved up all their money to go to the movies
What if you're
one
in
night
line? They're like,
and they can't.
Sorry everybody,
sold
Daddy
out.
Warbucks bought out the whole show.
And also, I'm like, why doesn't he do a really nice thing and take the whole staff to the movies?
Yeah.
That'd be nice. But no, just them and Punjab.
Yeah.
That's it. Whole theater all to themselves. Whatever.
Yeah. So the song starts with like Grace getting ready in her like room with Annie, and she's kind of like name dropping all these old movie stars. So like that's kind of fun. And then they get in the car and go. But there's this fun part there. When she's like sitting in the darkness, popcorn on your knee, give the maid the night off.
Ooh.
Turn the kitchen light off. Let's go to the movies, Annie, you and me.
Why are you so obsessed with the turn the kitchen light
So
off?
funny because it's like a hilarious little like part they put in for Daddy
Did you
Warbucks.
and Haley used to like
Yes.
laugh about that all the time?
Yes.
I could tell. I was like, is this an inside joke?
Yeah, it's hilarious. Turn the kitchen light off. It's funny. So then they go to Radio City Music Hall and they see this kind of like combo, like rock, like the Rockettes, Busby Berkeley, like whole thing, even before the movie. And then they see like an old movie.
Long night.
Yeah, super long night. But that's a really cute song. We've got Annie.
So Grace uses her sex appeal to get Annie to stay forever and to convince Daddy Warbucks to adopt her. And then she goes off with, she's wearing this like amazing yellow flowy dress and her hair is down and she sings the We've Got Annie song. So it's like, I forget the other word. I only know the words. We got Annie. It's like,
That's pretty much it.
we got Annie.
Yep.
And everybody's all excited because all the staff people have come to really love Annie. So they're very excited. So
It's
the
really
song
just a
is
showpiece for Anne Ranking's dancing.
Yeah, that's
It's
true.
not- there's no
That's true.
lyrics, really.
There's not a lot of lyrics.
Yeah.
Okay. Next, what does that say?
Sign.
Sigur. Oh.
So Daddy Warbucks goes back to the orphanage to get Miss Hannigan to sign the adoption papers, and there's this like funny scene because Miss Hannigan always like is seducing every man who comes in there. So like the first instance is Mr. Bundles, who is the laundryman, and maybe they've had like a tryst or two. I don't know. Then like the cop brings Annie back, and then they have like a little thing. And then it's just like she thinks she can win everyone over with like this sex appeal that she has, but she's like kind of like looks like a coat hanger. I mean, she's so skinny. You know, I love Carol Burnett, but has a very interesting, like original looking face. And just comes on to any man, especially any man with money, right? Or power. So she's like, what are you talking about? Like, sign what? Like, I want to seduce you. So she does this, like, they do this, like, funny little thing. And she takes him into her boudoir again. And she's like, you ever been to Buenos Aires? That's how she pronounces it. I hunger for the Argentine. Why don't you and me fill up our diaries? Buy me a ruby. Why shouldn't you be mine? And so it's them like going back and forth and him being like, sign the papers. And she's being like, I call you Ollie, my hot tamale.
Just like I didn't remember this song, and I don't really like it. And
I
went to the bathroom and I was like, "What is
not
this?
Famous at all? But it's
Is this
cute.
one that they added, or was it an original? Added. Okay, I can tell. And I want after
Another vehicle, I think, for Mrs.
yeah.
Hannigan.
And after we're done,
Calvert.
I want you to go through and tell me what they added and what they didn't,
Okay.
and see if I can figure out. But like that one, I knew that they added that one because it just was like,
Yeah.
it's kind of
Total
like
throwaway.
a throwaway song.
It's cute, but it's just a vehicle for Carol Brent to be like wacky.
Yeah. So the next one, they go to the radio station to advertise this, like, I hesitate to use the word contest, but it's like the reward for Annie's parents coming to reclaim her. So they go to this guy whose name is, what's his name again?
Bert.
It's like
Healy?
Brisbly?
Bert Healy.
Bert Healy. And it's like this weird old school radio show where like you have sound effects and like a guy singing, and there's like those old stand microphones, people singing, lots of stuff. So he starts singing the song "You're Never Fully Dressed Without a Smile," which I think is supposed to be the ad for the toothpaste, right? So that's why he sings it. So it's like, "You're never fully dressed without a smile," and then it cuts to the orphans who are also listening to the radio broadcast, and then they recreate the setup, so they're doing the song as well. So then they sing it also. So it's like, so senator, so janitor, blah blah da 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 blah. You're never fully dressed without a smile. I only know the important words. It's like I don't know all the words. I just know the main
they
ones.
They stand at a mile, but brother, you're never fully dressed without a smile.
Right, moving on.
Who cares what they're wearing on Main Street or Savile Road?
Next,
the big one, the big one. So this is the one. You know, Tomorrow is the most famous song I think out of this film. Not my favorite by any means. It's okay. I mean, it's fun to sing. But so it takes place. So Annie goes and they fly down use the helicopter and they fly down to Washington to meet Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, FDR, so it's now the 30s, he's president, is bugging Daddy Warbucks to help him like do something to do with the New Deal. And Daddy Warbucks is a Republican, FDR is a Democrat, doesn't want to help him. He's like, I don't know, some weird political stuff. So he brings Annie down, and Annie like loves FDR, and is like, I think FDR is just like kind of complaining about how sad life is and whatever. So she gives FDR basically like a little pep talk, and she's like, well, when I'm sad, I sing this song about like tomorrow and how like tomorrow is always a new day, and you always have like new hope for the next day. So I'm sure everyone knows this song. The sun'll come out tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow there'll be sun. Just thinking about tomorrow clears away the cobwebs and the sorrow till there's none. When I'm stuck with a day that's gray and lonely, I just stick out my chin and grin and say, that part's so hard.
I know. Tomorrow, I love ya. Tomorrow, you're only a day away.
The part they do like about this, the way they do it in this song, is that they have her sing it a cappella. That first one when she does it, and you don't hear. There's no other song in this movie that's like that. It's all pre-recorded, and then they lip sync to it. And I was like, like it's nice to hear her voice just like stripped down, and it is really nice, like simple. It's a child's voice, but like so like simple and pure. And I was like, like so nice. So yeah, I mean, it's such a sweet song, and like, is the entire point of Annie and that character Annie is how optimistic she was always. Stemming from the fact that she, like we said in the beginning, she always felt like she had parents and a life waiting for her. So she was always like looking for that tomorrow, but was just an optimistic girl.
She's basically always optimistic until she was dangling over the other side of that ladder at the end.
What did you
And she was like, oh shit. That was the one time I saw it. She lost the optimism. But other than that, optimistic whole way through.
That's fucked up.
Yep. The next song, so they're concocting the plan to get Annie and to pretend that they're her parents. So they sing this song called Easy Street, Easy Street. I don't know the rest of the words, but I just remember that song. And I like to just sing that song all the time. And I hope that someday I'll be on Easy Street, but like I'm not, it still hasn't happened yet, but like I hope one day to be on Easy Street. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But it's a good song. So it's Bernadette Peters, Tim Curry, and Carol Burnett. So it's a great, great song. Hilarious things happen in it, and it was always one of my favorite numbers, even though it's kind of near the end. So I'm surprised I stayed up late enough to watch that part. But it's one of my favorite songs. So I love it.
Better get there. Well, it's funny too. There's a lot of like slapstick and like kind of funny stuff in there, and it's like this very interesting little like trio of dancing. Like the Bernadette or the Rooster and Lily St. Regis are very like sexual to each other, and it's like, what is that? This is a kid's movie. And then the last song, Together at Last. They are together at last, Daddy and Annie, and they do this like cute little number, like some tap dancing in it, some soft shoe. Together at last, together forever, we're tying the knot they never can sever. I don't need sunshine now to turn my skies to blue. I don't need anything but you.
Good one. Yeah, I totally forgot. I didn't even really know about that song until tonight. It was like the first time I heard it.
So cute.
Because I guess I never stayed awake long enough to like get to the end. But it's a cute song. Super cute. Love it.
I like that part that goes, yesterday was plain awful.
Yeah.
And he goes, you can say that again.
Yeah, I thought many times.
Like, yesterday was plain awful.
It's like, I should have sang that song like throughout my life the past couple months.
I was like, this is cute.
It's really sweet. Yeah. So those are all the songs. So would you say 13? So a good number.
So
good amount.
So can you guess which ones that they added?
So Sign, obviously.
Yep.
Let's go to the movies. Yep. Let's see. I don't know. I can't. The other ones seem like they would be there forever.
Okay,
But
so you got-
Easy Street.
You got 2 out of 3.
Okay.
So Dumb Dog and
okay.
Sandy.
Oh,
Yep. Let's go to the movies.
was Sandy not even like in the Broadway show?
The dog is?
Yeah.
Yeah. he
Oh,
is.
she is.
No, he is.
Okay.
We got Dumb Dog, Sandy. Let's go to the movies. We got Annie and
Okay.
Sign.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because they're not like they don't like bring anything to the plot. They're just like ways to get them to another part of the scenery. Like it's
or
not.
just like accompany what's going on in the
Yeah.
scene. It's like
Yeah.
yeah.
That makes sense.
But they're really fun. I
Okay.
really like them.
Okay. Cool. All right. So, who is your favorite orphan? Not Annie. Anyone but Annie. The other orphan girls. Who's your favorite? And if you don't know their name, you can just describe them to me.
So my favorite is the. Okay, well, toss up. Can I do 2, or like
Sure.
you think one's the other? Well, I already think like you think. I don't think I know the one you're gonna pick, so I'm gonna pick the other one, I guess.
Okay.
Because you already talked about this. We're like so in the know about orphans.
Well, we did just watch it. So.
Yeah. So I'm gonna pick the one with the really good voice. I really like her with the long pigtails. She's like an older one.
What's her name though? Do we even know? It's a shame because like she has the best voice.
So she's in the cast.
Yeah, probably. But so she's the one that says the Rover, and she's got like blonde hair. And you said
No. I don't like that one. I like the brown one with the pigtails who's older.
Oh, okay, the older girl. All right,
Yeah,
I got you. Yeah, I don't know what her name is.
Yeah.
You...
Okay, so the orphans are Molly, Pepper, Tessie, Kate, and Duffy, and July.
Duffy was a blonde, like dirty blonde one, so it wasn't her. So
Probably
Tessie, Kate. That sucks. It sucks when you're not. You're like an unknown orphan. Okay, yeah, she was pretty cool. She had some good lines. And she was a little older. Yeah. My favorite is Molly, who's like the youngest one, and she kind of has a nightmare in the beginning, and Annie like takes care of her. But she's like such a character. I think that she has a great career ahead of her as an actress.
Did she do anything?
I don't. No, I mean like if this was real life and Molly was actually an orphan, like she does like a rousing interpretation of Miss Hannigan, which is very funny. She is the guy on the radio with the hat. Like she's just very funny, and she's young, and I think she has a real future ahead of her. So I love her, and she hears them talking about Annie and goes to save them. It's great.
Yeah.
There's also Pepper, who's like the mean bully, who I think is a maniac and is set to be in prison as soon as she is released from the orphanage.
That's Molly now.
Oh my god, she kind of looks like you. I said that Molly looked like Sweetie when she was little Emmy Dumas, and her now she even like looks like you.
I thought
really
I
creepy.
remember my friend Sarah Wood growing up was Molly in the Hearts Junior Theater version of this, and I was
She had blonde hair.
I know, I was like, fuck you. I was always so jealous when she told me that. I was like, oh my god, like I would have loved to have been in this show as like a little kid.
Yeah, you would have loved it. So a lot of people like Pepper, but again, I think she's a psycho, so whatever. She's mean. She's always mean. She's always gonna be mean. She's like one of those girls that like is tough all the time, but secretly likes people, which is very annoying to me.
I mean, she has a good personality. I mean, the orphans are super fun and scrappy, and they each have these like fun little personalities. There's that one that's like, oh my goodness, the freak out one.
She kind of wears on me after a while. I'm like, enough with that.
And she can't sing at all. And I'm like, what? Like, why don't you sing like really good? There's like billions of kids audition for this, and you even considered like casting people who can't really sing. That just seems bizarre to me. Anyway,
I guess, yeah.
Come on, John Huston.
Yeah. Okay. So what would you like to talk about?
So I mean, let's just go through like bit by bit, like random shit. I guess.
Right, yeah. I mean, I have several questions.
Okay.
But yeah.
So I mean, I can just go down my notes, and maybe this will inspire your questions to piggyback on. Okay. So interesting, like racial dynamic in this movie. Punjab and the Asp are two of our Daddy Warbucks bodyguards. So you have the Asp, who is like,
is that what they're like? She bills them as
Yes.
when Annie meets them because they're to drive the Asp.
she says bodyguards.
Oh,
These
wow.
are Mr. Warbucks bodyguards.
Huh.
So
Also his driver.
Yep, his driver, and like I don't know. So you have the Asp, who is of some Asian descent, not clear of what. He teaches Annie like karate lessons, and every time he comes on screen, it's like dun 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 dun, like that Chinese kind of
Temple of
horrible
Doom.
music.
Ooh.
Yeah, So that's kind of super racist. And then the other one you have is this interesting man named Punjab, who's like supposed to be Punjabi, who, you know, is from like a province in India. Actually played by a Trinidadian when you look at the credits. So
And when you look at his face,
a black man,
you're like, that's a black guy.
So that's kind of weird. But again, and then for him, he does all these like what are, I guess, are stereotypical like Indian hand movements and prayer positions
and makes things levitate.
Yeah, and he can like Annie at one point is like has a karate lesson and like practices on Daddy Warbucks. Surprises him with like a kick to the shin or the knee, and Punjab is able to like take out the pain like with his magical Punjabi powers.
I'm like, why aren't they selling this guy's magical powers?
Yeah,
like this is a thing. This is real. But
no. Whether this is in the actual musical or not sure. Holy hella racist, but it was the 80s, so people that was like if it was funny and clever to have these horrible stereotypes. So. Kind of weird looking at that now, not gonna lie. But Punjab is a great character. Let's be honest. He saves the day.
He does. Yep. Comes to the rescue, undoes his turban.
Yeah.
Uses it as a rope and like says this like sweet
he's super
Buddha
badass
quote. He's always quoting
favorite
Buddha.
though part with Punjab is when there's this one part where like this guy comes and tries to assassinate Mr. Warbucks, and it's like the Bolsheviks are like really upset with Daddy Warbucks because he proves that capitalism works, you know, and they're all like communist. And so he like throws like what it looks like a like cartoon bomb through the window. It's a big black ball.
It's like the bomb you bought Desmond.
Yeah. It's like a bomb from the Looney Tunes, essentially. And it's like all like spazzing out on the ground. And Punjab takes it and does what is essentially like what is that in the Olympics where you like spin around? Discus? It's like the discus in Olympics where you spin
or the
around.
Hammer throw?
Right, you spin around a couple times to like then like
launch
have that,
it.
Yeah, that projectile and that like momentum to like project something like way far away from you. Oh my god, it's hilarious because he's this big tall guy. He's in this like Indian sort of costume, so he has a turban on. He's in all white. Oh my god, I love that part. It's good. It's a good part.
It's a good part.
Yeah.
Okay. Wait, are you going to keep going down the line, or should I
keep going?
Oh,
Okay.
I don't know. I didn't know if you
Or
wanted
just
to, like,
one and the
switch it
other?
up.
Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of Sandy, and they're like, his name Rover's a good name. Rover's the best name. Do you think
Rover is the worst name for a dog?
Do you think anyone's dog's name is actually
No.
Rover? Like, have you ever met a Rover? No. So
Rover is the
strange.
Jane Doe of dogs.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's just like
Not that
hey,
people aren't
Rover.
named Jane. I do love the name Jane, but like, what is like, what is?
Sweetie's dog. Sweetie's dog is named Jane.
Oh my god, I love people named animals. It kills me.
It's funny. Yeah.
Oh my
But yeah,
god,
but that always bothered me.
I like saw some dog the other day. Someone was like, Pamela, come here. Like I love just like people named dogs. It kills me.
And I also like refused to believe when I was little that Sandy was a he.
Yeah,
and I think
same.
that's because we always had girl
Same.
dogs.
I was just gonna say that.
Because I think that Sandy, to me, especially because of Grease, is just a woman's name to me.
Right.
So it
Super
always
confusing.
bothered me that said Sandy was a boy. Also, did Annie check to see if it was a boy or a girl dog? No. I think she just assumed. She was like, "What are you doing to him?" She couldn't see he had so much
It
hair.
looks like a girl dog.
Yeah. It was totally a girl dog.
Here's
I
a
don't
question
care what
for you.
anyone
Right?
cares.
This is like kind of tangent about just pets
Okay.
and names. How much does it bother you that there's people who, like, no matter what pet it is, immediately refers to it as a he?
Like Haley Nickerson, number one offender.
Haley, I love you. A person who I've been seeing sort of casually dating also does that. And he has met my cat many times and still calls it a he. And I'm like,
it's like
listen.
latent sexism. Like, it's just like, what?
It wouldn't even dawn on
But
me.
maybe it has to do with what pets you had growing up. Like,
Right.
were your pets boys or girls? Like, I tend to think that most pets are girls. Oh, but sometimes I'm like, hey, buddy. Like, I don't know. Buddy's kind of neutral.
Buddy is gender neutral.
Yeah. So stick to Buddy. Just
Or you
ask
say, what is
what-
your dog's name?
Yeah.
Is it a boy or girl?
Yeah.
And then you remember.
ask. You don't make assumptions.
Right.
It's
I just think
2017.
that's weird.
God.
It's not like you wouldn't do that to people.
Some people might. Yeah. Crazy.
I don't know. That bugs me to no end. And it's just worse when they just keep doing it after you told them what their name is.
I
And
know.
they
It's
clearly
like,
know.
honestly, you don't care enough.
My cat is named April. It is
Honestly,
a
this is
woman.
like red flag number 25. I just can't. Anyways, yeah, good question. Good question.
Yeah.
Okay, you're next.
Okay. So this note is on my notes. Wow, that was super explanatory.
Cool.
Daddy Warbucks dash misogynist ? Thoughts?
So you are thinking this because when he meets Annie for the first time, he says, "I thought we were supposed to get only orphans are boys." He says, I believe.
What the fuck does that mean?
What does that mean? Why would only orphans be boys? I feel like it would be the other way around because people want boys. Like, is it that bullshit
Well,
like
this isn't
Chinese
China.
thing? Yeah, but remember in Baby Boom.
Yeah.
When they're like, they want a boy to work on the farm, and the
so
woman's
the
like,
opposite. I'd
and
be
the
like,
woman's like, really, we
boy, give him
really,
away.
there's more girls that are available for adoption than boys, which I don't know why that is, and I don't know if it's sexist, but I don't know why he thinks this, but yes, I think he's generally pretty sexist.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, he works with all men. He has a female assistant, but
It's the
again, like
1930s.
no women in his life. Like the last person was probably his mother. Like if you think about it, with guys like that who like, you know, will just only spend time with men, and then who was the last person, like woman they really cared about? Their mom. Sketchy. Yeah, sorry, Grace. Red flags, like red flags all over.
I just feel sad for her.
know.
Like, she's like a young
And
Republican.
like, but again, like I think the point of this movie is that Annie again like warms him his little misogynistic heart and makes him like a little bit less that. Right?
Here's hoping.
Because now he is the father of a daughter. And like that's like the magical key to suddenly make you
Daddy
think that
Warbucks.
women are actually people. So hopefully that works for him.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, sure. Okay, question for you. Is it fair that Annie gets to escape in the beginning and miss all her chores? Like, is she has such seniority that she can just leave and make all the other girls do the chores?
Yeah. It does feel like
I
she has
felt a little
seniority.
weird about
because I
that.
bet she has been there the longest.
But she can just, I'd be pissed. I'd be like Pepper and be like, as much as I hate Pepper, like I feel like the more I think about it, I'm like, I'm Pepper. I'd be like, why does she get to leave and we're all stuck doing these fucking chores? Also, every time I watch this movie, I get more and more depressed because I realize that I'm basically going to be Miss Hannigan. Like, I'm going to be this, like, fucking horny lady who just, like, surrounded by kids,
Well,
doesn't have her
honestly-
own, and is like, somebody have sex with me,
Yeah.
please. I'll just get drunk again. Oh, God.
As the years go on and I watch this, like I really feel for Miss Hannigan. Like that
know.
job sucks. Are you kidding me? I would be drinking out of my bathtub too.
So let's talk about Miss Hannigan for a little while because I think that she's, like, a sympathetic
Yes,
villain.
definitely.
And I was trying to think of a comparison to this. Like, I know there's another character where you're like, they're fundamentally bad,
Yeah.
but we like them anyways. I can't, for the life of me, think of who that is. Maybe like Cersei on Game of Thrones, who's like she's like a terrible person, but like such a good character and like has like some redeeming qualities
Yeah.
where you're like, okay. But so the thing with Miss Hannigan is that she's pretty terrible throughout, right? Until the end. And so do you want to talk about this part, which I know is
good
upsetting
segue,
for you?
yeah.
So let's
Yeah.
talk about it.
So right. So like Miss Hannigan, but like now watching this, you're like, man, that job like totally sucks. And like how else are you gonna keep
Why does she have that job, first of all?
Right. So I don't know how she got
she
that
apply
job.
for
Like
this?
what happened there? Right. Like not the greatest person for that. And like who's checking up on this? But that sucks, her job in general. And like how else do you keep like all those orphans in line? I mean, you got
Just her. Like usually
Yeah.
with orphanages, there's like other women or something
somebody else,
helping.
some
Yeah.
staff. So like I really feel for her. So she like kind of has to play it with an iron fist. Like I get that. I'm not sure like why they have to like sew all the time or they're constantly cleaning like a dirty place. Like just give up. Like that place is so fucking dirty.
Yeah.
Like who cares?
And they ain't never gonna get clean. So
Yeah.
just
Anyway,
forget it.
so and then like the Rooster character comes on, and clearly she does not like her brother. He is skeevy. He's gross. She's like, get out of here with your skeevy girlfriend.
She thought he was still in prison, so
Yeah,
clearly.
like whatever. At least she has a job. She's like making it work. So, but then she kind of gets like excited about this rich quick scheme, right? So it's always money that turns people over. So then she like kind of goes a little bit to the dark side and she's like helping along with this plan. But then like once it comes down to Rooster kind of being like, I'm going to kill Annie, she's like, whoa, 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 like not what I signed up for. And I think she really does care about Annie. Like she would never have hurt her. She would have used her to get $50,000 for sure, but would never have really hurt her and all that. And it just shows that like all the things that she said to them were all like just stuff she said to scare them. She wasn't like actually abusing them or doing anything like that, right?
Yeah. I guess.
So anyway, so she like goes, so she's chasing after Rooster and Rooster's chasing after Annie. And this is when they end up on that like weird train track drawbridge thing. And she's pulling Rooster down like with all of her might.
Well, because she freaks out because she realizes that Rooster, some people say like, I'm going to kill them like as just an exaggeration. Right. But she knows like her brother's fucking nuts.
Yeah, he's crazy.
He's going to kill her.
Yep.
So this is why she gets upset and tries to stop him.
So she's running after him and pulls him down. And she finally gets him down off the drawbridgey thing and is like struggling with him. And it's interesting the way they do it. The director did it because it's like a kids movie, right? So you're not going to really want to see like domestic abuse very, very close up. So they do it from like an eagle eye view, basically, which is Annie's view as she's climbing up the thing, right? So you see them struggling and then you see Rooster like, does he punch her? He punches her in the face and she is down, knocked out. Cold. And you're like, wait a minute. Like this is like fun musical, happy Miss Hannigan? Like, I remember as a kid being like, wait, what? So messed up by that. Like, it's just not like that. And that's when the movie really takes this turn for me, like we were saying. This very dark turn. All the musical numbers stop. There's no, all that is like kind of over.
Just,
but,
awful. It's just one of those things where, like, I feel like, and I think this speaks to, like abusive relationships where like you're more willing to like remember the positive, like the one time somebody does something decent you remember and then you just like forget all the shitty things. And like so I kind of feel that way about Miss Hannigan where it's like, I mean, she was pretty shitty to them and then like we're like, oh, she's so great, she secretly loved them all this time. And
I don't think she secretly loved them, but I think you have to understand her position.
But then she at the end she's at the big party at Daddy Warbucks' mansion, riding an elephant, like having so much fun. You're supposed to be like, oh, yay. But, sweetie, you were like, why isn't she in jail?
Yeah.
Like,
why would she was part of that whole plan?
She was part of the scheme, too. Doesn't make
Unless
sense.
Annie was like the kind Annie that she is, and she's like, well, like she tried to save me and maybe this and that. I don't know.
I guess.
It just seemed like an odd, or maybe the director just did it to be like, kids, Miss Hannigan's okay. Like, she's not dead. Because she is, like, knocked out. Like, as a little kid, I don't know. Like, I was like, is she okay? And they, like, never go back to her.
No, I think they did. They did go back to her briefly when Annie's saved.
I thought the next scene you see her riding an elephant. You're like, okay, she's fine. She's fine.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a weird thing. And, like, I feel a little conflicted about it. And, like, she's a great character, obviously, and all that. But, yeah, I think she was still just a miserable person at heart.
Yeah. She drank a lot of gin.
She drank a lot. Yeah. Okay. Dog catchers still a thing? Yes or no?
Animal control?
I think it's animal control now. But how often do you see like loose dogs? Like I feel like back then it was just like stray dogs and cats all over the place. I'm thinking of Lady and the Tramp was the same thing. Like the dog catcher's always like the villain of like these movies. And it's a scary thing.
We should watch that.
I love that movie.
Well, that's so funny that you say that because it's like, remember we were just in a neighborhood sort of outside of Boston yesterday, a little bit outside of Boston, and Sue was like, oh yeah, there's like, we saw a cat like very near the road, and for us as indoor cat owners, we're like, get inside. We like freak out every time we see.
Please be careful
in urban environments. So we'll literally like stop and be like, cat, like stay on the side of the road. Don't go in the road. I mean, it just freaks me out. Like, I see him all over in my neighborhood, too, and I'm like, oh, my God. But you're right. Like, I'm sure there's stray dogs, but not. There's a lot of stray dogs in the South. They pick up a ton. There's, like, a ton of labs, like, stray labs in the South. Wicked random, right?
Hey, those are, like, hot commodities.
Because remember our friend had that, like, lab, special lab rescues, and they're all from, like, Tennessee and Kentucky and, like, South Carolina.
Totes.
But, yeah. Man, the days of the dog catcher. Because, now I feel like animal control is just like, oh, my God, I have, like, a raccoon in my basement.
Or, like, dead squirrel on the road. Can you come get it? Because it smells.
Well, okay. Weird story. So, recently, last couple of days, I've been like hearing squirrels, hopefully just running across my roof, but maybe like inside the roof. So I've been having like daydreams. I have these like really lame ceiling tiles in my apartment, and I'm like terrified a squirrel is gonna come like just bounce through that. And like I know they're there because Moosh will be like, look up. She'll be like this and like look up.
Lucia's Sweetie's
Oh,
cat.
that's my cat. And I'm like, oh my God, what if a squirrel?
Side note, Sweetie's cat's name is April, but we call her Moosh.
I know. Oh, she's on the podcast. That's sad. So I'm terrified a squirrel is gonna just come like into my apartment. And so I've had these like weird daydreams of like what is my protocol when that happens? And I think it's animal control, right? Like I'd take April and I'd get out of there and I'd call animal control.
Yes, yeah. Call me, I'll come over.
Because it'd be like all wild and like
Yeah,
like,
that could be scary. I mean, if it has rabies, but yeah, I don't know. It's scary.
Scary.
Here's a good question. If you were president, which portrait of former presidents would you have in the Oval Office?
Easy. I'm like a presidential scholar, please. Teddy Roosevelt.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say FDR. I thought
FDR?
FDR is your number one.
They're like neck and neck. It's
So,
troubling.
but you picked Teddy. Okay.
Oh, I only have one?
Isn't that the thing that you get to pick when you're president? You have in the Oval Office. You
But then
get to
don't you get
feature
like a bust of somebody else?
maybe, but like I'm just saying, like that portrait.
Oh.
That's it. You get to pick.
Okay, yeah,
you get to
FDR.
pick the president.
FDR for sure.
FDR. Okay.
But Teddy, you're doing my second. Obama 3.
yeah.
Wow. Why? Who's yours?
I mean, I'm gonna go like out of left field and be like Garfield. I'm just kidding. Probably Barry. I mean, Barack Obama.
Yeah.
I mean, like I just think that like if you're a modern president, like I
Garfield
think
was
that
actually
he's-
a really cool president.
Okay, good. I feel less bad about it now. He was always my favorite when I was little because his name was Garfield, so he was easy to remember, and he was assassinated. So it was like an exciting thing.
I
to
read
know.
a whole thing about his assassination, and really, really interesting because it was about actually modern medicine, and it was about how he could have been saved, but they completely they weren't aware of bacteria and stuff getting in wounds then. So had they just washed their hands and been really careful with handling that wound and bandaged him upright, but he just got an infection from them, like not knowing anything about bacteria.
What
Yeah.
assholes?
Yep.
Son of a bitch.
I know. It's really interesting.
wait, who-
and even worse, so the guy who assassinated him, he like stabbed him in a train station.
Oh, stabbed. Whoa.
Or shot. I think stabbed. Anyway, so they used to do this thing, presidents, where it was like totally open door policy for the White House, and you could just come in and talk to the president about like anything you
Yeah.
wanted. So that guy came and talked to him many times, left his business card, really wanted to work for the administration. I mean, he was like a lunatic. And Garfield saw him like a bunch of times. And then he just like assassinated him at the train station because he was a nut bar.
Sad.
Yeah.
Wait, who was
But-
the one that got stuck in the tub? So fat?
Oh,
Taft?
that's a rumor, not true.
Damn it.
But
it's Taft?
But the rumor is Taft.
He was the fat one?
Yeah.
Okay. Just checking. Sometimes I get them mixed up. I'm like, Harrison, Taft, who's
Yeah.
the fat one? Okay.
Well,
cool.
Grover Cleveland looked kind of like Taft.
I can't keep up.
He served 2 terms,
I
not
know.
consecutive.
Not consecutive. I know. That's the big thing with him. So you got to know the little nuggets of each president has like a nugget. So you got to know those things.
I know the nuggets.
Yeah.
I'm all about the
yeah,
nuggets.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Anything else?
Move them feet. Easy street. Better get. Oh, okay. Couple Sweetie alumni. Yeah. Tim Curry. Ooh. Coming in at number just 2 or 3.
Clue. What else was he in that we did?
That's
Worst
it?
Witch.
Oh, worst.
2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 3. So yeah. So he's Tim Curry. Master of the 80s.
And I just want to point out that like he has a weird. I don't think he's quite mastered the accent because like every movie I've seen him in, he's done his like normal Tim Curry accent, and in this he's supposed to do like a New York accent, which he sometimes does, but then he slips out of it and he just does regular Tim Curry. So he hasn't quite mastered it, to be honest.
No, he definitely hasn't. You know who else though? So Edward Herman, who Grant Staten III from Overboard, awesome. Richie Rich's dad, as we said many times. Grandfather from the Gilmore Girls, check. Narrator, if you've ever like listened to the audiobook Unbroken, and actually narrated the Roosevelt series that Ken Burns did, PBS, and plays Roosevelt in this. So he was a real Roosevelter.
Yeah,
But
makes sense,
yeah, Really interesting. I love that guy. He's quite young in this. This is 82, so young. Mm-hmm. But
Is that it for Sweetie Alums? Or?
I think so, right? I don't think we had anybody else.
Yeah, guess.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. A couple weird things with like the inventions of this that I feel like are slightly like anachronisms. Good word. Remember that when you would take like SATs and like the anachronism thing was like chimneys and Julius Caesar or something. It was like the example they always use in Shakespeare. I love that. Okay, so there's that weird helicopter thing, which I'm like, I guess there were helicopters in 1930, but that seems like a crazy one.
Were there? Did it say there weren't?
I don't know, but it's like it's like a convertible helicopter. There's no top. That's like the last thing I would want to ride in. Helicopters are so loud. Even when you're in one that is enclosed, you wear ear things.
Yeah.
That seems intense, but
crazy.
they really do get around with those. I mean, they fly down to Washington, D.C. like that.
Which doesn't seem right because you need to be flying pretty fast to get to Washington, D.C. from New York pretty quickly.
How fast does a helicopter go?
Not that fast.
How do you know?
Because it's just like...
Do you want to look it up? Yeah, you think
No, I don't want to
know,
look it up.
But it's like, okay, and then also there's a car phone. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, car phones are strange because how did they work? Was it a satellite thing? No, because it was like the 80s. Everybody who's rich had a car phone. I don't know how it worked, but I assume the car had to be on, and then
what?
And then what?
Get it.
How did it work?
Like wires in the
to
ground.
be honest, I still don't really understand how like regular phones work. And for like cell phones, forget it. It took me forever to figure out what a fax machine did.
Oh, sweetie, you're so wrong. So helicopters. So 255 knots. You know what that equals?
This is a modern day helicopter, though.
Right.
I don't.
But the fastest helicopter so far has gone 293 miles an hour.
Yeah,
that's pretty
so
fast.
far. That's not in 1930.
But a plane goes like 700 miles an hour. Yeah. So.
And that can get to Washington, D.C. in like under an hour.
Yeah. Wait a minute. That's fishy. Yeah. So I feel like they have like some like anachronistic kind of stuff, which is because it was like made in the 80s. I feel like that they like could do that. So interesting take.
True. So it kind of always bothered me at the end that where I see all of Annie's little friends and they're wearing nice dresses. And I'm like, why can't Daddy Warbucks just adopt all of them? Or here's a better idea. Make the orphanage a nice place to be. Like he could use his money. Like, does he need his money to live in that giant house?
Right.
Like I was hoping that this would teach him a lesson where he could like help the orphanage and like put his money somewhere useful. So
maybe
like
he did. I hope
maybe,
so.
but it's just like always confused me at the end. I was like, why can't he just save everyone? It's like
and like Annie's gonna need people to hang out with, but she's gonna hang out with Punjab all day. Like she needs friends her own
probably.
age.
I like to hang out with Punjab all day.
Punjab is cool. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. That'd be one I would definitely be. Like,
Do you know who
you're my
who he
bud.
reminds me of?
Who?
In another movie?
No.
The Little Princess.
Yeah. Oh my.
Same thing. Was that like a trend in the 30s and 40s to like have an Indian servant? Why did every movie?
No, but Little
have that?
Princess was British, so that was like a little bit more made sense because you had people that India like was like a colony of
Wait,
British.
she was in London though.
Yeah.
I thought she was
It was
in New York
British.
too.
No.
She
The
didn't
Shirley
have an
Temple
accent.
version?
She didn't have an accent. No,
The Shirley
no,
Temple
no,
version
the
is-
newer version.
Oh, the Shirley Temple version is in
The newer version.
Britain. So that there's another Indian fellow.
Yeah.
No, but remember in the little. Well, I'm strictly
Remember
talking
he,
about the
like-
Shirley Temple one. It's the next door neighbor.
I remember seeing that. Yeah, same thing. Yeah.
Oh.
And then he creates the like they're imagining the big feast and then it comes to life. You haven't seen like the more recent one?
Who's in that?
I don't know. It's just like an amazing movie.
No,
It's so good. It's from, like, the 90s, in the 90s.
The Shirley Temple one. You
What?
don't remember the Shirley
Oh my
Temple
God.
one? It's
No, no,
amazing.
no.
Papa,
The 90s
Papa,
one is so
he has a
good.
mustard gas. He can't see.
It's the same exact
Victoria
story.
comes?
It's the same exact story,
Okay.
but it's a more recent adaptation.
Does Queen Victoria come?
I don't think so, but it like switches, and then there's like she spends time in India. That's why like she has this like.
Well, in the Shirley Temple one, it's definitely Britain because Queen Victoria comes to the hospital.
Okay. Well, not in this one, but it's so good. I loved it. Yeah. Okay.
God, tearjerker.
So much.
Wasn't it? So there's this big part where they go to the movies. I would say, let's go to the movies. Let's go see the stars. So they ran out Radio City Music Hall. Like we said, there's this like whole like thing. But how crazy was that? That both radio and movie, like that was like such an event for you. Whereas like we obviously in the podcast, watch a movie like every day. And then we go out to the movies so casually now. It's like
sad.
Our whole entertainment life is just like bonkers now.
What's next?
Like people didn't have anything to do. Like the movies was the highlight of like their entire lives.
What's the highlight of our lives?
I don't know. Broadway's still pretty awesome, and it's like pretty like. I mean, if you live in New York and you see a lot of shows,
if you are cultured enough to do that.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like virtual reality. I don't know. It's sad. I'm depressed.
It's sad. I'm like, I mean, it was
Super
just like
depressed.
such a spectacle, and they would like see this. So they see this movie Camille, it's called, and it's with like Greta Garbo and like some other guy. It's from like the 30s, like a real movie, and it's about like a French courtesan, and she's trying to like decide between two lovers, but then she dies. It's very like this sad movie, but like also in the sense that like if you weren't like wealthy at all, you probably weren't traveling, so like to be able to see anything outside of your own world in like pictures was like movies. It's just so cool. I just love that.
Sure. Yeah. Very magical. Magical magic. Let's see. Anything else?
Let's go see.
That's all I
a
have.
song.
Those are all my notes.
Yeah, I just love this movie. Have I posted that picture yet? I don't think so, but I was Annie a couple of years ago for Halloween. This is the wig I'm wearing right now for my Annie costume. I had the little red dress. I had little white socks and Mary Jane's on, and my very good friend, best friend, Haley Nickerson was Daddy Warbucks.
Who was on our Goonies episode.
Yeah, yep. She guested on that. Haley, what up? And she was Daddy Warbucks, and we got a bald cap for her. She just reminded me the other day, because we just had our Halloween pub crawl this year. We were both Ace Ventura. Awesome. But that time that I put her in the bald cap, like I basically used like mustache glue to like glue the cap on. And like she was pulling like her like sideburns fell off. I mean, it was like disaster.
It had sideburns?
Well, it was like, no, like I had to glue all of the hair on the side of her head.
Actual sideburns fell off. Oh my God.
It was really bad. I mean, we like committed to that shit. She wore like a makeshift like tuxedo. We kind of like made one. Oh my God, it was the best costume. And we had like we had the best time ever because we knew all the songs, both me and her. So we'd just be like breaking out to the song every 5 seconds. And then we would do like, we'd hold the hands and just like do like these funny moves down the street holding hands by like going by buses and like city buses. And people would be like, oh my God. I'd be like pounding on the windows and being like, hi. And we do like these little routines. It was the best. I mean, we were like hammered, but
I love it.
Oh my God. It was the best Halloween ever. Like we won Halloween by like miles and miles
Every
and miles.
year you guys you have great costumes. So
Yeah.
props to you.
Well,
Props to
we
you.
just really enjoy it.
Yeah. It's fun.
Yeah.
Good costume, but yeah, we'll post a pic again in case you missed
It's
it.
adorbs. It's adorbs. But guys, I mean, I don't know if people love Annie as much as I do. I don't think they do, but I
We'll
want
find
them
out.
to.
If you do, come and find us.
Yeah.
We are on Twitter at the Sweetie Club. We're on Instagram at Large Marge Sent Us. Come find us. Tell us how much you love Annie and join the combo. We'd love to hear from you. Yeah. And other than that, just thank you for listening. We love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Just thinking about you, you great podcast listeners. I'm going to stop singing.